All right, to farmers now who are hoping that this new trade deal will lift a major strain from China's soybean boycott. President Trump and China's President Xi Jinping are getting ready to sign off on those deals. That happens on Thursday. But this all comes as promises of aid and a new farm bill remain delayed because of the government shutdown. So I want to bring in CBS News correspondent Lana Zak to talk more about this. Lana, you've been spending a lot of time with those soybean farmers. How quickly can they get their silos empty and prepare to send their products to China?
They are ready to go as soon as those orders start to come in, Vlad. The question, however, is now going to be how much will China actually buy? Because as you'll recall, they shifted a lot of those purchase orders to other countries. Listen to agricultural economist Chad Hart.
We think there's probably about 2 million or 200 million bushels worth of demand in China that in that window of December and January that hasn't been met yet. And that would be the likely target for U.S. sales here if an agreement can be made in time. There would still be the need for some support, but this helps lessen that blow.
So we know from the Trump administration that they believe that they have a framework in place, but we still have yet to hear any of the details about how much China would actually be purchasing. And as you heard from Professor Hart, even then, we don't think that it's going to be enough to make farmers whole. So they're still waiting for that promised aid package, which has been on hold because of the government shutdown.
So, Lana, in the meantime, how are cattle farmers coping with the Trump administration's push to import beef from Argentina to lower prices? Of course, they've given Argentina a huge amount of money, and farmers themselves, the ones that we've spoken to, have told us that they're still struggling, and they can't believe that the money that's coming to them is a little too late.
Absolutely. And a lot of these farmers that are the soy farmers and corn farmers that are hurting also have diversified. They have livestock, they have cattle. They tell me that that was the only thing that was going to make them any money. And as soon as President Trump said that he wanted to import more beef from Argentina, they saw the value of their herds drop, but it hasn't actually led to a decrease in price for consumers. Take a listen to some of the farmers I spoke with.
It really only is going to be about 2.5% of our total beef supply. It's really not going to make a substantial difference.
The whole point of tariff was to bring production back home. So we are producing beef here, and now he is trying to do something to destroy that production.
We're being used and abused as producers.
It feels like being a pawn in a game we're not going to win.
So, as you can imagine, it is very difficult for all of them if they thought that they were going to be making some money off of their cattle, only to see those prices in the markets drop. It's a lot like the stock market. As soon as there's whispers about changes, even if those changes aren't significant enough to affect consumers, it can affect the markets, those commodity markets, which means that farmers are going to get less for their cattle. And they say that still the distributors, the packers, all of those other parts along the supply chain, those are the people who are going to be making money, not the farmers.
All right. Lana Zak, as always, we appreciate your reporting. Thank you very much. You've been on this beat for quite some time. Joining me now for more on this is the United States Cattlemen's Association President, Justin Tupper. Justin, thanks so much for joining us. So I've referenced this Argentina purchase earlier, which came as the USDA unveiled a new comprehensive plan to strengthen the beef industry. What's been the reaction from you and the membership about that?
Thanks, Vlad. Thanks for having us. And we respectfully disagree that bringing in beef from foreign countries is going to bring down the prices. I think something we like to say is here in the United States, we raise the safest, best protein on the planet. We want to continue to do that. We think you bring in some of that foreign beef, the only ones that'll benefit are the big four packers and the importers by buying it in a cheaper market and selling it in a much higher market. So we respectfully disagree and really push for U.S. beef to raise up their numbers.
Has the president been responsive to the pushback that you and your membership and others here in the United States have signaled to him?
We have reached out, I think, put in requests to discuss other options and some of the things that can benefit raising the cattle numbers. We're at historic low numbers due to quite a few different things, drought, prices, lots of things have come to kind of make quite a special number here, where we're as low in cattle numbers as we've been since the 1960s.
Wow. All right. So you no doubt have seen this. The president addressed cattle ranchers directly in a post on Truth Social last week. He said if it weren't for him, the industry would be doing terribly, and that you, meaning you and your members and other cattle ranchers in this country, have to get your prices down. And I'm putting up the quote here so people can actually see. He says it would be nice if they, meaning the cattle ranchers, would understand that, but they also have to get their prices down because the consumer is a very big factor in my thinking also. What was your reaction and your reaction to other ranchers when you saw this?
We definitely understand. We were seeing some of the best prices we've ever seen in the cattle industry, and prices are high. But prices are now just finally catching up to the cost of production for a lot of these people, and finally making some of these producers a living wage. We've been on break-even prices for a long, long time, and we finally get them up there where we can make a living and try to make sure that generational ranching can continue. We would argue we're not sure the beef is too high. $6.50 for a pound of hamburger versus, say, a latte or a coffee in the morning for $6 or $7, or a bag of potato chips for $5 or $6. The nutritional value in beef much higher.
Justin, when you put it that way, I think a lot of people will see and agree with you. $6.50 for a pound of beef, of hamburger beef, compared to a latte sounds pretty reasonable to me too. Thank you very much, Justin. I'm hoping this gets resolved, and that I appreciate what you said about the generational aspect of farming in this country, not just for cattle ranchers, but across this country, which is in peril now. Thank you very much for joining us.